In the art studio, the overhead light fell, and I blocked it with my right hand. My boyfriend, unable to afford proper medical care, sent me to an illegal clinic, delaying treatment and ruining my right hand. As a result, I missed the finals of the national painting competition and the only chance to become a master's apprentice. With no other choice, I continued working 3 jobs a day. 6 months later, while delivering takeout, I accidentally discovered his true family background and overheard his conversation with a friend. Liam, Leah only had a minor fracture in her right hand, yet you had them amputated outright. Humph, it should have been ruined long ago. Since she's otherwise unharmed, of course we'd trade her right hand for it. After all, I promised Isabella I'd help her win the national art competition by eliminating all obstacles. I won't allow anyone to threaten her position. Hearing these words, I finally realized that my enviable love was nothing but a joke. My boyfriend turned out to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. If that's the case, I'd rather not keep this man. His friend teased. Isabella isn't short of good teachers. Leah is your girlfriend. She sees this master's apprenticeship as her only opportunity. If she ever finds out the truth, there's bound to be trouble. If you don't tell, no one will know. Besides, getting close to Leah is all for Isabella's sake. Then he raised an eyebrow and added, "Oh, by the way, give Leah that new wound medicine your family recently developed." His friend hesitated, but that medicine hasn't undergone clinical trials yet. If she uses it and something goes wrong, affecting her nerves, her hand might keep hurting and shaking. Standing at the door, my heart suddenly trembled, tears welling up in my eyes. The next moment, his even crueler words pierced my heart like an invisible blade. "You've always complained about lacking data. Well, here's ready-made experimental evidence. Isn't it perfect? She'll never pick up a brush again, not even with assistive tools. She can never threaten Isabella anymore. TSK, you're truly heartless. After all this time, you still won't let her go. What a waste of Leah's talent. If more gifted painters appear in the future, will you help Isabella eliminate them one by one?" Liam interrupted impatiently. "We've got no choice. Blame Leah's bad luck. She's Isabella's psychological block. Since she survived, as long as she never paints again, Isabella will naturally overcome her fixation and achieve greater heights." After a long pause, he spoke again. "I'll compensate Leah as well. She only lost a hand. I can ensure she never wants for food or clothing." Hearing this, the tears in my eyes could no longer be restrained and spilled over uncontrollably. Struggling to steady my emotions, I set the takeout by the door and wandered off in a daze, pushing my small motorcycle along. I stared at that right arm missing a hand, biting down hard on my lip. It's been 6 months, and painting with my right hand feels like a dreamed memory. I never imagined that studio light falling was premeditated. It was my boyfriend, an accident he engineered to help his childhood friend eliminate an obstacle. My right hand wasn't critically injured, but he had someone deliberately amputate it. To Liam, I was never his girlfriend from beginning to end, just a demonic obstacle he needed to eliminate for Isabella's sake. I still remember waking up to Liam's worried face as he hugged me tightly, as if trying to press me into his chest. "You scared me to death. I was so afraid something might happen to you. Luckily you were smart enough to block with your hands. If it had hit your head, the consequences would have been unthinkable. Thank God you're still here. Thank God you're all right." Liam held me tightly, murmuring his relief. I once thought he loved me, but now that I know the truth, I'm filled with nothing but disgust. He really knew how to act. That beam was meant to take my life, but by sheer luck, I managed to block it with my right hand. Since I didn't die as he wished, he had my right hand completely severed, ensuring I could never hold a brush again. What a heartless man. I wiped away my tears, no longer hesitating, and booked a flight to New York. After delivering the last order for the evening, I returned to my $500 a month basement apartment. "Leah, you're back. Tough day, huh?" He casually handed me a glass of water. Watching me drink, he produced a vial of medicine. "Leah, this is the hospital's latest special wound treatment." Recalling his conversation with his friend, I refused. "No thanks, I still need to paint." Liam smiled gently. "Don't be afraid, Leah. This medicine is specially designed to help you pick up the paintbrush again." Looking at his smile, I broke out in goosebumps all over, more likely designed to stop me from ever holding a brush again. I shook my head in refusal, and Liam's expression darkened. "Don't be stubborn, Leah." Then my head began to spin, and I collapsed onto the bed. In my dazed state, I felt the needle pierce my skin. A sharp pain shot through my right hand as I curled up on the bed, whimpering in agony. Liam panicked at the sight and made a phone call. "What's happening? Leah keeps crying out in pain." His friend replied, "Liam, I told you, this medication causes side effects." Ignoring the warning, Liam simply kept ranting angrily. Through my dazed consciousness, I sneered coldly. He was still pretending, when this whole ordeal had been his idea from the start. He wouldn't let go of even the slightest chance of my right hand healing completely. Breaking my hand wasn't enough. When he saw me practicing painting with assistive tools, his worries surfaced again. In his urgency to destroy my nerves, he robbed me of this last opportunity to use assistive tools. I woke up in that black clinic again. The doctor, noticing I was awake, asked, "You're awake? I've given you painkillers. Does your right hand still hurt?" I shook my head and said, "It doesn't hurt as much now, but I can't seem to lift my right arm either." I demonstrated for them, exerting all my strength, but my right arm showed no response. Liam seemed to breathe a sigh of relief upon hearing this. Then, with a choked voice, he looked at me and said, "I'm sorry, Leah. It's all my fault." His eyes were bloodshot, clearly showing how distressed he was. He bent down and hugged me, tears streaming down my neck. Yet I lowered my head with clear, calm eyes. "Liam, isn't this exactly what you wanted? Destroy me to crown Isabella." Concerned about my condition, Liam offered to carry me back. Leaning against the bed, I opened my long and used Twitter, where countless hateful messages flooded in, some even doxing my personal information in the comments. Rats living in the basement love doing shady things, stealing from others and pretending it's their own. Seems like a severed hand too. Serves you right. Karma for a habitual plagiarist. I steadied my mind and searched for the source. It turned out an influencer had posted about me on behalf of a friend. I opened his friend's Twitter account. Looking at those familiar sketches, my heart sank to the depths. That was a painting I did before. I stumbled out of bed and began rummaging through the cabinets, but the place where I kept my paintings was empty. At that moment, Liam walked in after washing up. I confronted him. "Did you take my painting?" Caught off guard by my directness, Liam flusteredly explained, "Leah, I was afraid it would trigger painful memories for you, so I moved it away. It's stored somewhere safe now." I opened that Twitter post and showed it to him. "Then what's this about? How did my painting end up with someone else? Or did you actually sell it?" Liam stubbornly insisted, "Leah, there must be some misunderstanding here. I didn't sell your painting. If it's truly a misunderstanding and you didn't sell it, then did she steal my drafts and deliberately publish them herself?" "Leah, you're going too far." Liam interrupted me with righteousness in his voice. "How can you casually accuse someone of theft without evidence? Just what exactly are you trying to achieve?" I sneered. "My drafts somehow ended up with her for no reason, and now she's turning around to accuse me of theft online. Am I not entitled to get to the bottom of this and clear my name?" He frowned, his voice heavy with exhaustion. "It's already late. Stop causing trouble, Leah. So what if they say you stole? You can't paint anymore anyway, and you're not going back to that circle. A few words online won't hurt you." Seeing his double standards, it finally dawned on me. He intended to shield this person. With reddened eyes, I lowered my head and pretended to sob softly. Liam felt he had spoken too harshly earlier. He came over and wrapped an arm around me, saying earnestly, "Leah, ignore what's happening online. Let's just focus on making money and living our quiet little life together from now on." As he spoke, his icy large hands wandered along my waist, suddenly lifting me off my feet and gently placing me on the bed. Just as he leaned in to kiss me, I raised my right arm, the one missing a hand, right in front of his face. I didn't miss the flicker of disgust that flashed through his eyes. "Sorry, my right arm is still a bit sore. It's not very convenient right now." He smiled, buried his face in the crook of my neck, took a deep breath, and kissed me again. "Fine, I'll let you off for today." In truth, he hadn't touched me in the half-year since the injury. Whenever he brushed against my right arm, he would immediately jerk away and pretend nothing happened. I turned my back to him, roughly wiping away the traces he'd left behind, my heart filled with lingering revulsion and hatred. In the middle of the night, while he slept, I opened that influencer friend's Twitter feed. The more I read, the more shocked I became. This account is probably Isabella's. She doesn't seem to hold back at all, flaunting many gifts from her brother, many of which are identical to what Liam gave me. The only difference is, mine were knockoffs, while hers are genuine. I remember Liam saying at the time, "Leah, I can only afford fakes for you now, but someday I'll have the means to give you the real thing." I accepted his empty promise, but the truth is, he always had the capability. There were also the gifts I saved up for with my hard-earned money, which he never used because they were too cheap. And all those past Valentine's days, he always said he had something else to do and missed them. Turns out he was accompanying that childhood friend of his. She even posted a photo from 6 months ago when she won the national art competition, captioned, "This award is half thanks to Liam brother. Tonight I'll reward him properly." The day she won was also the day I lost my right hand. That night I lay alone in a shady clinic. Liam said he went to investigate why the chandelier fell, but in truth, he went to celebrate Isabella's victory. The next day he returned, claiming the chandelier incident was an accident. Of course it was the accident he'd arranged. What other truth could there possibly be? I closed my eyes, carefully feeling the faint phantom pain radiating from my right arm. The next morning, Liam acted as if nothing had happened, leaning in to kiss me, but I dodged away. He frowned slightly, then said helplessly, "Leah, are you still mad? Don't be angry. I know you're not that petty. Be good, alright?" With that, he left. I knew today was Isabella's birthday. For the past 3 years, Liam would throw a grand birthday party for Isabella, and the next day he'd return with a cake she made. But I barely touched it. I told him I was allergic to nuts. Yet he would joke, "Leah, how come you're both poor and full of ailments?" Then he'd finish the cake himself, treating it like something precious. At noon, I received that message again. "Highland Villa number 22. Come see the gap between you and real people, you pauper." In the past, I would have been too busy delivering orders to bother with such childish games. But now that I can barely lift my right arm and can't work anyway, I decided to come. Just as I reached the entrance, Liam's voice called out, "Let us welcome Her Majesty the Queen, the rising star of the art world, the goddess Isabella." I suddenly remembered how Liam used to paint grand dreams for me, promising to treat me like a little princess once he struck it rich. I pushed the door open and walked in. When Liam saw me, he instinctively pushed Isabella away. Isabella pouted and cooed, "Liam, they say you've been keeping someone shady on the side, is it true?" Liam never supported me. On the contrary, I worked 3 jobs every day to support him. His so-called support only existed in the empty promises he painted. A flicker of displeasure crossed his brow. "Don't listen to their nonsense." "I didn't," he said. "Big brother, no secret lover? Or no girlfriend at all?" Isabella pressed. Liam paused, his Adam's apple bobbing twice before he replied, "Neither. I've told you, I only want to watch over you as you grow up." Isabella chuckled with satisfaction, then feigned surprise upon noticing me, exclaiming, "This disabled delivery worker doesn't seem to belong here." "You weren't invited, were you?" Everyone present knew exactly what was happening, yet they all pretended otherwise. Just as Liam had once played me for a fool, I smirked coldly, my gaze fixed pointedly on Liam as I said with deliberate implication, "I worked hard at painting, hoping only to trade my talent for a better life. I took 3 jobs a day just so we could have our own home someday. I trusted my boyfriend because I loved him." Liam's hand clenched into a fist, his fingertips gradually paling. With a tearful voice, I continued, "But some people aren't worthy, hypocrites don't deserve others' sincerity." As soon as I finished speaking, a mocking laugh sounded beside me. "Beggars can't be choosers. Liam lacks none of what you mentioned. He's got houses to spare, and painting? Just his little hobby to impress goddesses. As for genuine affection, we can snap our fingers and it comes running." Amid bursts of laughter from the crowd, Liam coldly cut them off. "Enough. Shut up. This is Isabella's birthday party. Don't let irrelevant people ruin the mood." The moment his words fell, I turned and walked away. The next instant, cheerful music sounded from behind me. My presence today, like myself in their eyes, had always been nothing more than an ant's existence, incapable of drawing any prolonged attention. But was this truly the case? Otherwise, why did defeating Isabella just once in the past haunt her so deeply? I gazed at my perfectly intact left hand. A demon of the heart, how could she rid herself of it so easily? Liam never knew I could paint with both hands. We'd been together for 3 years, and he couldn't even remember my birthday without my reminders, let alone anything else about me. For the past 6 months, I'd been stealing moments to practice left-handed painting outside. He always pretended to regret that I couldn't paint anymore. Back then, I thought he genuinely meant it, so I deliberately kept it from him, wanting to surprise him someday. Good thing I kept this secret. Otherwise, my left hand might have been at risk too. Given his cruelty, he wouldn't hesitate to do something like that. 5 days ago, I mailed out the keepsake left by my mother along with my own works, and immediately received a response from her mentor. I had intended to tell Liam, but just a single painting left on the table made him so fearful that he attacked me again, leaving my right arm completely immobile. I packed what I could take with me and threw all of Liam's belongings into the trash. After all, to him, this place was probably nothing but garbage. I contacted the landlord to terminate the lease, discarded my phone card, and left this city behind. 6 months later, the national art competition was held in New York. Last year's state champions all participated in this competition. It was said that many reclusive master artists intended to take on apprentices here. Isabella was determined to win this time. Liam accompanied her as well. He never missed any of her competitions. So when Liam spotted Leah, whom he had been searching for so long, in the venue, he felt slightly dazed. He thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, but Isabella beside him stepped forward first. Isabella's voice was sharp. "What are you doing here?" She glanced dismissively at the right arm in front of her. "Since you can't paint anymore, came to work as a waiter?" Liam walked beside her, pursed his lips, but ultimately said nothing. Having come on behalf of my teacher, I arrived early to prepare at the venue and thus avoided these 2 unwelcome presences. Pretending not to hear, I turned to leave. Liam suddenly grabbed my arm. "Leah, where have you been these past 6 months?" I brushed his hand away. "Sir, Do we know each other? His brow furrowed slightly, as if restraining himself. Leah, it's been half a year. You've had your fun, now stop this charade, will you? Since you already know who I am, I'll give you whatever you want. But don't you dare lay a finger on Isabella. I took a deep breath and glared at him sharply. Get this straight, I was never making a scene. I just don't want you anymore. With that, I turned and walked away without a second glance at the frost that instantly clouded his expression. The competition was broadcast live from start to finish, attracting numerous bloggers and their fans who flooded in to follow the event. When Isabella and Liam saw me seated at the judges' table, their eyes widened instantly. Isabella even exclaimed in disbelief, "How can an amateur cripple like her be a judge? She's nothing but a habitual plagiarist." The live chat comments started scrolling rapidly in an instant. "I know this girl. Last time she stole paintings from my idol's friend, and now she dares to come as a judge? What kind of knockoff competition is this? Seriously hilarious. Her hand is broken and she still comes to embarrass herself. Can you judge a competition just by running your mouth?" The criticism in the live chat grew louder by the minute, accidentally trending on social media. My Twitter was dug up again, with even more insults piling up underneath. Liam stood beside Isabella, his gaze filled with doubt and condemnation toward me, as if to say I deliberately caused this scene just to make things difficult for Isabella. What a pair of self-righteous people they are. I saw Liam walk over to the side, whisper something to a staff member, and then a suited manager approached me. "Sorry, ma'am, this is a professional competition. The disturbance you've caused here will be legally addressed. Please leave the premises now." Isabella chimed in from the side. "Leah, stop embarrassing yourself. If you're trying to target me, you're going about it all wrong. Did you really think you could just sneak into this professional tournament?" I watched him with amusement and said, "The troublemakers over there. Instead of dealing with them, you're blaming me, the judge?" His attitude appeared polite, but his tone was contemptuous as he looked at me. "Madam, all our contestants are legitimate state competition champions. I don't know who brought you here, but please leave now." I let out a long sigh. What a colossal amateur operation. The organizers were practically begging Professor Hoffman to come just the other day, and I clearly reported to the backstage earlier too. Now they pulled a stunt. I stood up and glanced at Isabella and Liam in the contestants area, sneering, "Isabella, last time you stole my draft, and someone abetted you, even framed me in return. I didn't settle accounts with you then, but today you actually dare to try the same trick again." I opened my phone and posted a tweet, then turned to the camera and said, "Sorry, but I'm going to use this stage to set the record straight. I've just uploaded the evidence on Twitter, clearly documenting the timeline of my creation. Also, I have a habit when painting. I hide my name in the darkest shades of color. Isabella, I wonder why Leah appears in your original artwork. Or could it be that you have a crush on me?" Isabella's face turned extremely ugly. The live comments immediately started discussing it, with many saying they had truly found what they were looking for. However, a few stubborn haters still refused to admit it. Isabella doubled down. "Leah, let's set aside what just happened for now. But you shouldn't be here. Your presence is an insult to professional competitions." Liam, standing nearby, also spoke up. "Leah, don't make a fool of yourself. If you have grievances and want to prove your innocence, you've already presented your evidence. It's time for you to leave." Some audience members below joined in the condemnation. I rubbed my forehead. What a bunch of idiots. I turned to the staff member. "Have you verified my identity? How dare you question me like this? Is this your professional conduct as a staff member?" Faced with my challenge, his expression darkened in embarrassment. "Ma'am, I think it's obvious to anyone with eyes that you clearly have difficulties. Please don't make me spell it out. It would be too humiliating." I looked at him as if he were an idiot, then, under the gaze of everyone present, raised my left hand. "It's just my right arm that isn't convenient. It's not like I've lost both arms." A complicated expression quickly flashed across the manager's face, while Isabella behind him stamped her feet in agitation. "Leah, you're lying. You can only use your right hand. What the hell do you know about using your left? Besides, how long have you even practiced with your left hand to come here pretending to be a judge?" Hearing this, the manager seemed emboldened by the support, his face revealing disdain. At that moment, the staff member I just checked in with backstage hurried onto the stage, whispering to the long invisible host before pulling that manager away. Having said that, even the host seemed to feel the excitement had reached its peak and stepped forward to restore order. "Apologies everyone. The staff just informed me that Ms. Leah we saw earlier is actually a disciple of the Venerable Hoffman, whose expertise is already well regarded in the industry. It appears this lady is none other than the famous artist known by the online alias Life's Left Hand. She's participating in the preliminary round on Master Hoffman's behalf." As soon as these words were spoken, the venue erupted in murmurs. Master Hoffman was a renowned figure in the art world, though he had long retreated from public view. No one had heard much about him taking on students. However, the name Life's Left Hand had indeed made waves. It belonged to a rising young artist of the past half year, famed for her left-handed paintings where small animals seemed to spring to life under her brush, rendered with astonishing vividness. Impossible. How could Master Hoffman possibly accept someone with a severed hand like you? What qualifications do you have to become his disciple? You don't even know how to use your left hand. Isabella shouted at me, her face twisted with jealousy. My expression darkened as I finally reached my limit. Enough. You've repeatedly used my hand to launch personal attacks. Is this the upbringing of a lady like you, Isabella? Moreover, aren't you and the person beside you perfectly aware of what really happened to my hand? Because of you, what did he do to me? Did you think I didn't know? Just because I'm not pursuing it now doesn't mean this matter is over. As soon as I finished speaking, Liam stared at me in shock, his eyes filled with disbelief. Ignoring the staff's attempts to stop me, I turned and walked straight out of the venue. The teacher just sent me a message, telling me not to share the stage with a fool, lest it affect my IQ. Just as I stepped out of the venue, Liam caught up with me from behind. His eyes were slightly red. Leah, what did you mean just now, when you said you knew something? I didn't want to play games with him. Looking straight into his eyes, I said word by word. You knew everything, what you should have known and what you shouldn't have. That hand you, young Master Liam Lynch, deliberately chopped off. No, Leah, listen to me. It wasn't intentional. Give me a chance to explain. Liam continued to argue. I scoffed. Explain? Or make excuses? Besides, when I was unconscious, did you ever give my right hand a chance? With reddened eyes, I stepped closer to him, gritting my teeth. I had already avoided that disaster, but for someone else, you mercilessly cut off my right hand. I thought it was because you couldn't afford to take me to a proper hospital. I blamed only myself for my misfortune. But you, behind my back, you did such monstrous things, trampling on my blood and tears to help her win the championship. Do you really think there's anything left to explain? Tears streamed down my face as I spoke. To this day, I can hardly think of my right hand without sorrow. Yet I only have myself to blame, mistaking a wolf for a gentle soul. My judgment had failed me. Liam's face turned deathly pale instantly. He merely shook his head mechanically, his eyes fixed intently upon me. No, I'm sorry, I have money now. I'll make it up to you, all right. I looked at him with undisguised disgust. Liam, stop pretending, will you? What could you possibly repay me with? Could you give me back my right hand? He nodded eagerly. Then could you go die first? Where was this affection earlier? Disgusted, I shoved him aside and walked toward the car parked by the roadside. Liam kept tapping on his phone, unaware of Isabella who had quietly followed him outside and now stood nearby. The call finally connected with his friend. Liam pressed urgently, did you tell Leah about the drugs? The person on the phone was puzzled by the question but answered honestly, of course I wouldn't dare tell her about it. Then how did she find out? Oh, I remember now, 6 months ago, I ordered takeout at my villa. When I glanced at the receipt, I noticed the delivery person had the same name as Leah, but I thought it was just a coincidence, so I didn't mention it. Hey, is that you, Liam? Are you still there? Liam's phone clattered to the floor as he clutched his head and sank into a crouch. If Leah had truly overheard that conversation at his friend's villa half a year ago, he couldn't bear to imagine how heartbroken she must have been. He crouched on the ground, burying his face in his hands, sobbing aloud. What he truly dreaded to imagine was how catastrophic it would be, for a painter like him, to lose his right hand. Isabella reached out to embrace him, but he pushed her away abruptly. Don't come closer, Liam refused with a frown. Liam, what's wrong? Please don't shut me out. Did that thief say something to you? Seeing this, Isabella looked hurt. Liam shoved her aside, and Isabella fell to the ground unnoticed. Under normal circumstances, Liam would have tenderly helped her up, but this time, the coldness on his face intimidated her, leaving her too afraid to speak again. Liam fixed his gaze on her and demanded, did you take the sketches I kept at home, and post them online intentionally to cyberbully Leah? Liam, I didn't. Isabella whimpered softly. Still lying? Should I go back and check the surveillance footage with the butler? The more Liam usually indulged Isabella, the more merciless he became at this moment. So what? Her hands are already broken. What use does she have for those paintings now? Besides, didn't you tacitly approve it too? Liam closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and said, enough. With that, he ignored Isabella and left alone. That evening, on social media, the long-unseen art maestro Mr. Hoffman made a rare post on Instagram, my final apprentice, accompanied by a picture and a laughing emoji. At the same time, I also posted a video of me drawing with my left hand on Twitter. Several senior friends in the industry reposted it together. The abusive comments beneath the post were almost gone, with most people apologizing and many complimenting me. Isabella's competition qualification was also revoked due to her involvement in defamation. Meanwhile, I also filed a lawsuit against her. I hadn't dealt with it earlier because my right hand incident was a mess at the time, and I temporarily forgot about the draft saved in my email. Later, I became too preoccupied with practicing under the teacher's guidance to bother with this matter. Since they crossed my path again in broad daylight, I couldn't possibly let them off this time. Somehow, Liam found out where the teacher lived and waited for me at the door every day. I never gave him a kind look. My feelings for him were only filled with disgust and hatred. Seeing me emerge, he gazed at me with deep affection. "Leah, give me a chance to explain properly, won't you? Or let me make it up to you, even if you'd have me die for it." Liam went back a few days ago and rented out that basement room again, restoring everything inside. He lay on the bed over and over again, trying to catch Leah's scent, imagining how it must feel for Leah to lose her right hand. Once again, he thought of his original purpose, and his heart was filled with endless regret. He should not have hurt Leah time and again, nor should he have rubbed salt in her wounds after she had already lost her right hand once, to completely sever her expectations and affection for him. Although he dared not hope for Leah's love, he wished to move her with his sincere actions, pleading for one last chance to spend the rest of his life taking care of her. She didn't need to love him loving her would be enough. I was utterly disgusted by Liam's overconfident demeanor, baffled by what kind of twisted logic could make someone so smug and self-assured. Because of my mother's connection, the teacher treated me like his own granddaughter. He deeply lamented the state of my right hand, and when I revealed the truth about it, both he and his wife cursed Liam 1,000 times over. I immediately pulled some strings to investigate Liam's family's lynch group and his friend's pharmaceutical company. Liam didn't pester me for days. When he appeared again, he dragged Isabella before me. I was blocked by these two men. Liam's face turned icy cold. "Apologize to Leah," he demanded. They seemed to have torn off all pretense of cordiality, and Isabella didn't hold back in the least. "What gives you the right? Weren't you also responsible for harming Leah before?" Liam was hit where it hurt, a flicker of humiliation crossing his face as he ground his teeth and said, "You told me she was your inner demon, that you envied her, hinting I should pursue her. That business with the right hand, it was you sowing discord, making me sever hers to eliminate future troubles." Isabella scoffed. "Liam, why are you pretending to be so devoted now? Sure, I dropped a few hints, but weren't you the one who willingly did all those things? Where was your precious Leah when you were doing them? Why didn't you spare a thought for your girlfriend's feelings? Stop kidding yourself. You got down on your knees and played lapdog to me while having a girlfriend. That just shows what trash you really are. Shut up. This is all your fault." Liam growled, his bloodshot eyes wild as he lunged at Isabella, his hands closing around her throat. I hurriedly stepped aside to call the police, and eventually both men were taken away by the officers. Later on, the teacher's investigation made progress. That underground clinic was shut down. His friend's pharmaceutical company faced severe crackdowns for administering unapproved drugs to humans, leading to a fallout between them. As for the Lynch family, their son's involvement exposed numerous shady dealings, stripping the entire Lynch group of a significant layer and dealing blows on all fronts. As for Liam, he was sentenced to 3 years behind bars. His family tried everything but failed to get him out. After he came out, somehow he got my contact information. He said he was going to marry Isabella, but he didn't love her. He claimed he wanted to take revenge on Isabella for me. I shrugged with a smile. I couldn't comprehend his thought process, gave no response, and cancelled that phone number once again. Later, I went abroad, accompanying my mentor and his wife, witnessing the wonders of the world, painting its beauty, and fulfilling the dreams my mother never realized. The end.